Chris Johnson, he was a hell of a football player back in the day, of course, three-time Pro Bowler, NFL rushing king back in 2009, one of 5 players to ever go over 2,000 yards. And we got to talk about the state of the running back right now, because the state of running back is a dying breed in the NFL. When you talk about Saquon Barkley not being able to get his contract, and Josh Jacobs, who was the rushing king last year, not able to get a long-term deal right now, see if they're going to play at all this season. Chris Johnson joins us right now on the Rich Eisen Show. CJ, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Just chilling, man. That's it. How you doing?
Oh, you're good, man. You ever have any encounters at the urinal like that, man? Like I was just talking about, you ever meet anybody at the urinal? Anybody trying to talk to you at the urinal while you trying to handle your business?
I don't think so. Not off the top of my head right now.
Well, that's bound to happen now that you've been on the show. Let's talk about the running backs in the NFL, or the lack of running backs, man. Why do you think the running back position right now has been devalued, in your opinion?
I just think it has been devalued over the way that they're trying to turn the league into like a straight passing league. Like I've been saying this for years and years. Like, yeah, you get those certain teams, they're gonna pass the ball all over the field. But when it gets December, January, playoff football, we all know that you got to come back to that running back. You got to have a running game. Know what I'm saying? So, like, that's a big part of it, why I feel like they have devalued the game. Because, like, when I was coming up or when I was playing, like, it was like we getting 20, 25 touches a game. And, like, with things that I've seen, like, in the past years, like, you will be watching a game, and then the end of the stats, the running back will have, like, 50, 60 rushing yards and, like, 40, 50 receiving yards, and they say he had a great day. But when we was coming up, that was a terrible day for us.
Yeah, but let me play devil's advocate here. All right, so the game has evolved. The game has changed over the years. Back in the day, you didn't see too many back in the 80s and the early 90s. Even as quarterbacks, you didn't see a lot of 4,000-yard passes. You definitely didn't see a lot of 5,000-yard passes. But now you're seeing that almost every season. If you don't have a 4,000-yard passing season, it's almost like you didn't have a really good season as an NFL quarterback. As you mentioned, the game has evolved to more of a passing game. So how do you feel like running backs in today's game have to adjust to what the league is doing on offense?
Okay, well, first of all, I got 2 things to that question. I like that you say you devil advocate and you see the 4,000 to 5,000 passing yards. I'm going to point out a guy. We're going to talk about shirtless Kirk Cousins. He's going to give you 4,000 yards in the regular season, and then come to playoffs, he's going to shit on the money. Like, you got to run the ball. That's why, we get the playoffs, but we lose in the first round or this and that, because the running game. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you come to it, like I played with a guy by the name of Bruce Arians. And throughout my whole career, it was running back, like worry about rushing yards and this and that, and then, catching the ball out of the backfield, still being that threat. Now I go inside with Arizona Cardinals or with Bruce Arians, and 80% of the time, it's like, as a running back, we're not sitting back there blocking those guys that's coming in. We're doing free release. Or you going out wide running routes on the linebacker, so it's all about a mismatch. So I had to I had to go like my practice schedule and look at the game different. Now I got to focus more on running routes from the outside. I got to focus on making sure I'm getting 100 to 200 catches in on the jug machine every day after practice, because I know in this offense we're trying to create mismatches, and I'm gonna have to catch the ball out on the outside. It's different with running right on the outside and coming out of the backfield.
Right. So now on the running backs, if you're not catching the ball out of the backfield, like you're a good receiver out of the backfield, right? I think in today's game, as a running back, you have to be able to stay on the field for all 3 downs and be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, even on first down, and be a good pass protector as well. So if you're a running back, don't you feel like because the game has changed then this is what the league is looking for. This is what the league has done. This is what running backs have to adjust to. This is what you guys have to do all the time now.
Right, but okay. So if I adjust to that, and I'm doing what you're requiring me to do, right, within your offense, I should be paid as such.
So what's it say? Like you're obviously not the biggest Kirk Cousins fan in the world, so especially in the playoffs.
No, I love Kirk Cousins. I love Kirk Cousins.
All right, so but so when you're saying a guy like Kirk Cousins, you do a lot of great things in the regular season, 4,000 yards in the regular season. Then in the postseason, they need to run the football. Obviously, you need to have a balanced offense because you don't want to be predictable when you're on offense. So what's it say about a team like the Minnesota Vikings, who had such a great season with Kirk Cousins, with Kevin O'Connell, who had a great first season as a head coach. Of course, they got the best wide receiver, in my opinion, in the NFL, but they released Dalvin Cook this offseason. What's that say about the league when you got a team like the Minnesota Vikings who had that great season with those great players I just talked about, and then they release maybe they're one of the best players on offense out of the backfield?
Yeah, and that just shows you, I feel like that comes with coaching because, like I say, we're going to throw it all over the field in the regular season. Then we get to December, January. That's what our team is used to doing. That's what we're doing. So it's hard to just flip the switch and be like, okay, now we finna focus on this running game because it's gonna get us through the playoffs. You got to do that all throughout the regular season. So when it comes to the point where it's like it's time for the playoffs, we already used to doing this instead of we just used to throwing the ball all over the field. That's one point to it. And the other point that I can say is, at the end of the day, I feel like it was a business decision. They feel like, I think the backup is Madison or something like that.
Yep.
They probably feel like they pass the ball so much, they feel like Madison can come in and do what they need Dalvin to do. Because they don't motion Dalvin out of the backfield to throw the ball and stuff because they got plenty of receivers to do it.
Yeah,
they got the best receiver in the game. So I feel like on the business side of things, they felt like they can let Dalvin go and have the backup come in and do some of the same things in the running game, being that they don't run the ball as much.
All right, so if you're Saquon Barkley now, he's mentioned, even talked about maybe possibly sitting out the entire season. If you're in his position right now, of course the Giants have franchised him along with Josh Jacobs with the Raiders franchised him as well. If you're in their position, what are you doing? They haven't signed their tenders. Are you sitting out this entire season, or are you just going back to play and trying to prove that you're worth the money that you want?
I think in their situation, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they either have to play this season or they got to play a certain amount of games in order to where they won't end up in the same predicament they're in now. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much. Because these rookie contracts, they have to play, to get the service amount, they have to do that. So they have to play eventually. They can sit out the season and forfeit the $10 million that they're going to get. But eventually, even if they played, though, CJ, and they played this year and they, say ran for 1,600 yards, Josh Jacobs another rushing title, they can still franchise them again next year. Maybe for like $14 million. So
two franchises. But my point that I was trying to make, if they sit out this year and they come back and the team can be like, okay, we're still gonna franchise you again. Like you don't gain no minimum towards the next contract is what I'm saying. It's either you sit out the whole year and the team might be like, okay, we're gonna pay you, or they could be like, okay, we're gonna franchise tag you again. Now you done sat out the whole year, you done lost $10 million. Same thing like Le'Veon Bell did.
Yep. And he says he regrets that.
Now you coming back, okay, we're going to franchise tag you again. So now what you going to do? You going to sit out again, or you going to play the franchise tag and you're going to lose $10 million again? Like, what are you going to do? So it's kind of like they're in a situation right now where the team pretty much have the leverage. The team pretty much have all the leverage right now. So if I was in that situation, I say I will come and play. I will come and play.
Yeah, you're damn as you do, you're damn as you don't. Let's talk about you a little bit, man. What are you up to these days?
Man, just chilling, man. Down here, Orlando. just real estate. Got a few Airbnbs out by Disney and stuff like that. So I just been working on that real hard, getting those furnished and rented out and stuff like that.
Everybody got the Airbnbs these days. I got to invest in the Airbnbs. I understand you're also doing a podcast. The reason I wanted to have you on the show is I actually saw you on the podcast. You're working with my man Eric Weinberg over there.
Yeah. Podcast. I do this past last season I did the 33rd team, and then I did the Smash and Dash with me and Lindell White. So we shoot that podcast weekly, talk about sports, livelihood, all type of stuff, man. So that's been real big for us.
Bleed's trying to make things happen over there. How tough is it now? Because you're in that role. I guess you're part of the media in a sense when you got the podcast, you got your opinion. How tough is it? Because as a player, obviously you heard other people's opinions. Maybe it was from a former player. Maybe it was from a guy who didn't play the game. And, they could be critical sometimes. How hard is it for you to now be in that role?
I feel like from me playing the game and going through those situations and hearing people say things that they that it may look like this on the outside, but they don't really know. I think that helped me out a lot because when I talk about certain people, for instance, when I talk about Kirk Cousins, I love him to death. He's a great player. I'm not talking about him in general. I'm just talking about the situation. So I would never come out and bash a certain player or anything like that. I would just talk about the situation and what you see what's on film. Film don't lie. You know what I'm saying? So I just take that whole aspect of it.
All right, love good luck with that, man, as well. And you're still you're one of the fastest guys in the NFL back in the day. You were a Blazer, bro. I used to always have this debate with one of my partners on the air about who was the best running back at the time. You or Adrian Peterson. When you look back at your time between you and Adrian Peterson, because that used to be the biggest debate, who's the better running back during your era, how would you assess that matchup?
Me versus AP?
Yep.
I would definitely say I was the best one. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he played more years than me in different scenarios going to, continue to play at the back end of your career and stuff like that. But if you line up my best seasons with his best season in our era when we were going back and forth, I'd definitely go on myself.
All right, and you also one of the fastest guys in the game. You still fast?
I'm all right, man. I was out there running with my boys the other day. I felt my hamstring a little bit, so I had to set it down. And not only that, the reason why I say I'm the best for sure, I'm the only running back in history to have over 2,500 yards. So nobody ever done that. So
yep.
It is what it is.
Receiving and rushing the football, doing your thing, man. You're definitely one of the best. So, here's the thing: when you get a certain age, Chris, I don't know if you know this because I'm an old guy too, man. You got to stretch, bro. You just got to, stretch. You got to be able to, pull them hamstrings and stretch them hamstrings out. You can't do the things you used to do unless you're T.O. because T.O.'s a mutant.
Yeah, he's a mutant. I thought I was stretched out good, but man.
So you're not going to be in one of these races that T.O.'s trying to get together anytime soon. T.O.'s trying to challenge everybody that used to be fast in the NFL to a race. So you're not going to be.
Man, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? There's no problem. I'll do it. I can't nobody, none of them old cats, none of them old folks, T.O., Pat-Man, Adam Jones, none of those guys. They can't. I'm the fastest to ever do it, man. They can't stand next.
So the challenge right now, you, Pac-Man, you Adam Jones, T.O. in a race right now, the three of y'all on a track in give me 2-3 months and the showdown's gonna happen? Can we get that? Can we make that happen?
The showdown is gonna be who's coming in second out of one of them. That's gonna be the real race. Who's going to be second? The first is not even a question.
Ooh, I can't wait for T.O. to hear this, man. This is going to be great. CJ, man, thanks for your time. Appreciate it, man. Best of luck with the podcast and everything you got going on down there. When I come to Florida, man, I'm going to definitely rent from you in the Airbnb. You got nice Airbnbs? You got good 5-star ratings?
5-star. Real nice. You go to my Instagram, Chris Johnson, TWO8, Chris Johnson 28. The link's in the bio. The Airbnb's there. So just check me out.
Oh, since you just gave that endorsement right there, so that means we get free Airbnbs now. Like that's like we get a deal.
Yeah,
we get a deal around here. Rich Eisen Show. We get a deal.
I'm gonna give y'all some free days.
Okay, all right. You heard it right here on the Rich Eisen Show. CJ, man, thanks for your time, my brother.
Thank you.
All right, bro.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.